With defeats in the opening round, both teams were gunning to get off the mark on the new 4G turf on six ways. Despite having around 80% of possession in the first 10 minutes, the Cherry and Whites only had 3 points from Greg Laidlow's boot to show for their efforts. It looked as if Charlie Sharples had given the away side an early 8-point lead when he touched down in the corner, but the TMO had judged that the tackle had been completed, and that Sharples' second movement to score was illegal. Making his home debut, Ben Teo scored the first try of the evening. It was in his strength the former Rugby League international drove his way over the whitewash. Laidlow's penalty saw Gloucester taking the lead, before Cooper Vuna, as he did so many times last season, scored in the corner. Ryan Lamb converted before adding a penalty to make it 15-6 to the home side at the break. Worcester looked comfortable, with their forwards having the upper hand, but they had their work cut out when Alafoti Fausaliva was shown the red card for leading into a challenge with his elbow. Despite being down to 14, Worcester built on their lead with Perry Humphrey's brilliant individual effort. 20 points to 9 with just over 20 minutes remaining. After letting a 24-point lead slip versus Leicester, it was Gloucester's time to begin the comeback. Matt Scott, as he did last week, showed what an impressive asset he is in midfield, with skipper Laidlaw adding the extras. Substitute Tom Heathcote added 3 points to Worcester's tally, before Henry Purdy scored after great play by Gloucester. Cool, calm and collected, man of the match Laidlaw equalled the score with 10 minutes remaining from the touchline. Despite Gloucester's late pressure, it was on as even at six ways.
Sale hosted Harlequins on Friday night, with the hosts desperate to kickstart their season after a losing start in Newcastle last week. TJ Ioane was involved in a nasty clash with Joe Marler's shoulder early on, causing a long delay in proceedings, with the Samoan international eventually stretchered off. Indiscipline from the away side gifted Dan Mugford 3 shots at the posts, and the man making his home debut made no mistake from the tee, giving Sale a 9-0 lead. The home side's discipline wasn't much better though, giving multiple penalties away on their own 5-metre line. At the fourth time of asking, Quins took their opportunity, former England captain Chris Robshaw crashing over for the score. Nick Evans added the extras, and Sale had to play out the final moments of the half with 14 after Jonathan Mills was sent to the sin bin. They did survive though, and after Quins had Owen Evans sent to the bin in the second half, Dave Seymour was at the bottom of a rolling maul to extend the lead back to 9 after Mugford's conversion. Mugford and Evans added further points for their team before Quins' indiscipline cost them the match. A yellow card for Kyle Sinclair being followed shortly after by Matt Loamanu seeing red. Quins heading down the motorway with nothing, Sale getting that vital first victory of the season. The final score, Sale Sharks 19, Harlequins 10. Steve Diamond, satisfied with that performance to go with the result?
Yeah, I think so. It was a really hard-fought game, and a lot of physicality in it, and I think we deserved the win in the end. I think we probably exposed them a little bit in our drives and stuff like that. But, it was a closely fought game. It could have gone either way, still right at the very end. So, delighted to get the win.
At half-time, it really seemed to be on the cusp, didn't it? Because they'd worked themselves back into it. So important, that Dave Seymour score.
Yeah, I think we had the better half of the first 20 minutes, and then they got the backsides into gear and capitalised and scored that try. And, it was whoever took hold of the game by the scruff of the neck, and we managed to do that up front a little bit in the second half. And defensively, we were solid. So that there were very few opportunities for Quins in the second half.
Word for your fly half from last week, having been so dejected and disappointed to come off Kingston Park pitch, to producing an immaculate performance from the tee and in position, and he'd only found out 24 hours ago that he would be starting.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we did train all week with him in the position, and we gave him a lot of confidence after last week because he come on and played very well. He just missed one kick, and we know how fine those margins are at this level, and it cost us a game. But today, I think he was outstanding. I said not only his goal kicking, which was 5 from 5, but his control of the game. He's defensively good, and he reminds me of Danny Cipriani. He's just not got as many tattoos.
In different styles, Leicester Tigers and Wasps came into the match on the back of impressive victories in the first weekend of the new season. After early exchanges with a boot, Christian Wade scored the first try of the afternoon. An impressive rip and steal from Jimmy Gopperth, who then placed a neatly weighted kick into the hands of the speedster who dotted down. Gopeth's conversion made it 13 points to 3 to the away side after 26 minutes. Leicester knew they couldn't let Wasps build ahead of steam, as they let Gloucester do the previous weekend, and the home side responded when Australian Lachlan McCaffrey bundled over from close range, 8 points to 13 at the break. Early in the second half, Wasps extended their lead, with Guy Thompson scoring. The versatile back row showed great strength to fend off Michael Fitzgerald and touchdown. It was then the turn of his back row partner Sam Jones to make an impression. He powered over after a great break from scrum half Joe Simpson. Jimmy Gopeth added the extras, making it a 19-point deficit to Dai Young's men. Richard Cockrell's side had to respond quickly, and sure enough they did, when Ed Slater touched down after some fine build-up play from Freddie Burns. The England international kicked 2 further penalties to reduce the deficit to only 5 points. However, it was the discipline from Cockrell's men that cost them, when Alice Genge and Peter Beetham were both sent to the bin. Wasps took advantage of this and put the cherry on the top, as they earned their try bonus point in the last play of the game, as Gopeth finished well from the back of the rolling maul, securing Wasps' first victory in 8 years at Welford Road. The final score, Leicester Tigers 22, Wasps 34.
Two teams who began with winning starts in round 1 did battle at the Rec as Bath hosted Newcastle Falcons, and it was the home side who got off to the brightest start, taking a 6-0 lead thanks to a penalty and drop goal from the boot of George Ford. It was England winger Samisa Rokondimguni who really sparked the game into life though. His length of the field run couldn't quite be converted into a try for himself. However, the referee and TMO deemed Nicky Gonover's intervention illegal and Bath were awarded a penalty try. Ford added the extras, and there was much more to come from the West Country side. Rokondimguni's wing partner Matt Banahan the next to dot down. A dominant set piece was causing the Falcons all kinds of problems, but it was in the backs where Bath were finishing the job. Rokondimguni again at the heart of it as he finished off a well-deserved score. And he didn't have to wait long for a second, finishing off a nicely worked try in the corner. Ford couldn't add the extras, but it was a commanding 32-0 lead at half-time for the hosts. The second half continued in the same vein, scoring-wise, but this time it was the big men crossing the line. Kane Palmer-Newport powering his way over for his first try of the season. Dominant work up front from Bath led to more ill-discipline at the breakdown from the visitors. A quick penalty found its way to second-row Dave Atwood, who crashed over with some considerable ease. And in almost a carbon copy, but this time in the other corner, Atwood was over for his second. A well-deserved brace for a brilliant all-round performance from the England man. Substitute Ali Hogg did get a consolation score late on for the men from the northeast, but it wouldn't be much to take back on the long journey home, and salt was well and truly rubbed into the wound late on when Stuke powered his way over. An outstanding first home game in charge for Todd Blackadder with his side runaway victors at the Rec. The final score, Bath 58, Newcastle 5.
Many congratulations. How was that for a first experience of the Rec?
Well, it was fantastic, just so pleased for our players. You know, they put in a great performance and worked really hard, and it was just fantastic to watch some really good rugby being played.
Anyone you'd like to pick out today?
Well, I thought David Wood had a great game. You know, he just soared in the line-outs and did all the tough stuff and made the tackles, and I thought he really led that forward pack around. But I think everyone played really well. I mean, Rocco on the wing was on fire, and Georgie Ford once again was just finding space everywhere. But I think what I was most pleased about, it was a real good collective effort, and a lot of young guys out there today having their first games. And they looked a little bit short of gas, but they really dug deep, and Zach Mercer was another one who had his debut today, and one to remember.
Box office clash in round 2 of the Aviva Premiership took place at Sandy Park, with a repeat of last season's final as Exeter took on Saracens. And it was the visitors to get off to the brighter start. After Marcelo Bosch had missed an early shot at the post, Alex Lazowski made it 2 tries in 2 games for his new club, following his summer move from Wasps. Alex Good added the extras, and it wasn't long before the visitors were crossing the try line once again. Another new signing, Sean Maitland, getting off the mark for Sarries with a good finish in the corner. Exeter came close to getting a score back, but the TMO deemed Greg Holmes to have come up just short. Henry Slade did get the hosts on the scoreboard soon after, though, with a penalty. And he would get another before half-time after Richard Wigglesworth was sent to the sin bin for this trip on the England centre. Sarries would survive to half-time with 14 men though, and 10 minutes after the break added 3 more through good. Maitland's day was soon to get even better. The Scotland international at the end of a well-worked try. Lazowski the key with some slick hands. Good converted, and the champions now looked in the mood to flex their considerable muscles. Billy Vunipola went marching on one of his trademark pick-and-goes from a scrum, feeding Jackson Ray, who held on brilliantly to score. Exeter showed some great resolve and eventually did manage to break down a seemingly impenetrable Saracens defence to score a try. Luke Cowan-Dickey, the first man to breach the Sarries try line this season. The Chiefs tried again and again to claw their way back into the match. In doing so, though, a costly mistake in midfield led to substitute Ben Spencer adding to his try last week at Twickenham with an easy finish. Some early warning signs for the rest of the league then, that Saracens are still hungry for more success. Maximum points from the opening 2 games for Mark McCall's men. The final score, Exeter 13, Saracens 34.
Both these teams had begun with an opening day defeat, but it was Northampton who looked the more determined to make amends. After a Stephen Myler penalty had put the Saints ahead, it was the fly-half's pass that gave George North the space to go over for the opening try. Tusi Pisi pulled 3 points back for Bristol, but the athleticism of Courtney Laws at a line-out set up the drive for Frenchman Louis Picamol to claim Northampton's second try. The Saints made it 3 tries in the opening 20 minutes when Myler's clever kick enabled Ken Pesey to slip past Tom Varndell for a lead of 25-3. Bristol showed their resolve in the second half and were rewarded when hooker Ross McMillan went over from close range to cut the lead to 15 points. But the Saints had the final word, and thanks to some slick handling, they claimed the bonus point when Pesey's final pass of a flowing move opened up Bristol's flank for replacement hooker Mikey Hayward to score. Final score, Bristol 10, Northampton 32.